Yo, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Culture Shock. We are back with another video. Today is another sad day in Indianapolis, fans. We've, we've been through a lot for these first 2 weeks. I don't know how much easier it's gonna get, but I got a couple of guys with me today. I got my guy Brandon, I got Rondo, I got Lucas. We're all here today. How are we doing today? We can start up from the top of the right. Brandon, how you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
All right, Lucas, how are you?
You know what? I'll survive. I just want to give Carson Wentz a hug, but it has to be a very gentle hug. I'm afraid of breaking him at this point.
Fair enough. He's been hugged a lot yesterday, but we'll talk about that. Rondo, how are you?
I mean, like I said, it could be better, but I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's also true. So today we're discussing the Rams versus the Colts. Scores 27-24. Pretty close game. Pretty much shocked me. I thought it was going to be a blowout, but the Colts fought back. It looked ugly at the beginning, but everybody decided to wake up at the right time. But unfortunate things happened. Wentz went down with an injury. Aaron Donald got open, but I mean, if you look on the bright side, before we go ahead and talk about the offense, Aaron Donald did win that battle that everybody looked forward to, that Big Q versus Donald battle. Big Q held his own every time they lined up, and that's a beautiful sight to see. I just want to show that. But he did praise Donald and say he was the best player in the NFL, in which I totally agree because he pretty much plays every position on that defensive line. But the one thing that that hindered us in this loss was the offense. The offense was kind of like it was very stagnant, and I would say more of the play calling, if anything. But we're going to go ahead and segue into that topic. We're going to let Brian go first on the top right corner of the screen. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on the offense, man.
Offense, it's honestly taking me back to the Andrew Luck days with the absolute dismal line that we have, and the fact that Carson is able to scramble and then also get the first down on a 1st and 10 or a 2nd and 10, and his pocket presence. His overall game right now brings me back to Andrew Luck, and it's also bringing me back to his 2017 campaign with the Eagles. I heavily believe that he will get back to that 2017 Pro Bowl year, but he needs a line. This line is absolutely dismal. Like, I can't think of any other word to describe it with, and I think that we need to move on far away from Davenport. Davenport is our weakest chain, and Aaron Donald absolutely discovered it and exposed it beyond belief.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
But then,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, and then Pittman, I'm happy to see that he's starting to make a name for himself.
Oh, yeah, man, 100%. Michael Pittman Jr. definitely did have one of those quiet games. It looked so bad because every other second Carson Wentz was running for his life, but every Colts media was blowing up his stat line. So credit to that. Appreciate your point on that. Definitely Davenport. We kind of knew that was coming, and I kind of predicted that was going to happen anyway. I said that Aaron Donald was going to be flying all over that defensive line. He wasn't going to be staying on one spot of the field. They were going to attack the weakest link. And boy, was it a lot of weak links on that field today. But we're going to go ahead and let Lucas give us his thoughts on the offense of how it went down today.
Well, the name of the game was pressure, and Aaron Donald absolutely was demolishing the right side of the line, particularly Davenport, but he also got a few really good shots onto Wentz from Glowinski, and also he was able to beat Ryan Kelly a few times as well. He was just moving all around. Unfortunately, we didn't see as many reps versus Quentin Nelson as I would have liked to see, but Nelson actually was able to hold his own against Donald in pass protection there. But, of course, Raheem Morris, their defensive coordinator, was smart to move him around. That's what the winning formula was, even if it hurt me and Wentz. It's what they had to do to win, and unfortunately, Wentz was under pressure constantly. He was very elusive, though, which was very thankful, because if he was immobile like Phillip Rivers from the year before, he would have gotten absolutely killed. This was a game where Wentz had to play hero ball, and we've been very scared of him trying to play hero ball the whole entire offseason, but he actually looked really, really good despite the circumstances, and I was very impressed with him. Just this offensive line is very disappointing right now, and we need Braden Smith back into that 2020 form once he's healthy, because Davenport should not see the field ever.
Yeah, man. Rough scene. Very rough scene. You speak on the mobility of Carson Wentz. Of course, it was bound to happen, and he had to do that, but it was so impressive. The fact that he almost matched the yards as Matthew Stafford had with the protection he had, and if Carson Wentz would have stayed in the game, I think we would have seen a 300-yard game from Carson, because he was pretty much dissecting that defense, and the defense is very top-notch. With pressure or without, Carson Wentz still found a way to get the ball off, man, and definitely had him a solid game before he went down. But we're going to go ahead and swing it to Rondo for his thoughts on the Colts offense.
Yeah, I think probably the key word to describe this offense would be ironic, because everyone said, every Colts content creator said in the offseason after Wentz is, okay, Wentz, come in here and don't mess it up. We have all the pieces ready for you. You need to come in and not mess it up. And it's literally been the other way around. The consistent O-line we said we were going to promise him has not been there. Again, obviously, I understand Davenport's not the normal star. We have injuries. But even then, you still have, at least in the case of this game, you had 3 normal pieces, and for the most part, he was still running for his life. Not having T.Y. Hilton, obviously, I'm not going to hold that against T.Y. Injuries happen. You can't necessarily hold that against him. The bright side is that Pittman gave us that game we were waiting for. You know, hopefully that consistently carries on for the rest of the season. And but back to the annoying thing, why can't we have consistent games from our offensive pieces? Pittman was nice today, but where were Hines and Taylor at? Those guys are supposed to be playmakers in the backfield. They're supposed to make us feel comfortable of not having Mac essentially be a full-time starter. It's either those guys are shining and the receivers disappear, or it's the other way around. The lack of consistency from places where we've seen it before is really just annoying. And honestly, on the Wentz thing, you guys are both already said it, it's literally flashbacks to Andrew Luck. And it makes you just kind of think of what would happen if we had the protection because Wentz has been playing amazing, and I'll give him credit where it's due. As someone who did not want him, I was against bringing him in. He has done far better than he really should be doing. It's been 2 games. He's been hit 22 times. That's ridiculous for what we're supposed to be bringing to him as an O-line.
Yeah, man, I agree 100%. And Big Q definitely was adamant about that on the post conference, talking about how they need to be better. And it's totally unacceptable, especially he mentioned him, the red zone. How the offensive line looked down there on the goal line. It was pretty much embarrassing. Even the play calling, what we ran, the pick and everything, it was just bad in general. 2 drives to get in the end zone, and we could have put up points. It's just flat out embarrassing. But, I mean, it is what it is. We still fought at the end of the day. The defense turned up. Shout out to Kari Willis. All those guys, they made a scene, but it was just a little bit too late. And while we're talking about this, we're going to go ahead and segue into the defense. The defense was another roller coaster. Second half team as usual. We all know how the Colts play in the second half. We pretty much start to show up, but Cooper Kupp literally dissected us by himself. It's pretty much the same thing as week 1 with Tyler Lockett. Just one receiver always open every time. It's just unacceptable. But I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day, because as Colts fans, we know what to expect with this defense and with the scheme and what we run. It pretty much shows that we really need Xavier Rhodes out there, a veteran corner. I think everything would be back to normal when he's back on the field. But you guys can go ahead and talk about this. I want to let Rondo go first, and then we'll swing it from that direction. Rondo, let me know your thoughts about the Colts defense today, man.
Well, compared to week 1, I was more, I guess, not maybe impressed, but satisfied. It was a completely better showing than on week 1. I literally said on my preview that Cooper Kupp was going to kill us. So ironically, that did not surprise me at all. Hey, shout out to my boss who I told to start Kupp in fantasy, and he benched him for Robert Woods. But but yeah, like, I mean, it's a problem that, and I mentioned it's the absence of Rhodes, because when he goes down, we really don't have another guy on this roster who can take those number 1 corner reps. Kenny Moe is an amazing corner, but he's a slot guy. He has to stay there. TJ Carey is versatile. He's not a number 1. Rock, no. And So the problem comes is that there's really nobody underneath Rhodes who can slide in and essentially be that spot starter for number one. And it gives you problems like we saw this week and we saw last week, is that teams have multiple receivers. We'll get away with it on those teams who only have one guy, but the Rams have Woods and Kupp. You know, the Seahawks have Metcalf and Lockett. It's not going to cut it in this new NFL where teams have multiple weapons and guys they can kill you with. But I mean, like I said, the defense as a whole, it was a better showing. It's still not what we're used to, but again, growing pains, and we understand that these first 5 games are going to be rough.
Yeah, man, I agree 100%. We already knew it was going to be rough. I mean, none of us really expected us to go, 5-0 and 3-2, even at the least. But we knew the first 5 games was going to be rough when we all seen the schedule when it first released. But you can go ahead and segue this into Lucas. Let me get your thoughts on the defense.
Well, like Rondo was saying, consistency has been a major factor for both the offense and also the defense. Like a big example is Kari Willis. He had the big Interception in the second quarter, but he also had a blown coverage rep in the first quarter, which Cooper Kupp got the first touchdown of the game. So and Kari Willis was supposed to be one of our more consistent presences in the back end, and unfortunately, he's been pretty inconsistent to start off, and that's pretty been emblematic of the entire defense. Leonard has not done nearly as well as what we would have hoped. He's had a few big plays here or there, most notably the reverse on Kupp, the tackle for loss in the red zone this game, and also the forced fumble last week were phenomenal plays. But then he keeps on getting beat up in coverage. His run defense has not been stellar. He's been getting beat at the point of attack. And Bobby Okereke has not lived up to the Pat McAfee prophecy of being a future Hall of Famer, to put it nicely. And I'm definitely missing Anthony Walker for that run defense ability. But the coverage has been very, very lackluster. Pass rush has been inconsistent, to say the least, but there is some hope there with getting healthier. And right now, the leading sack leader for the Colts, Al-Quadim Muhammad. Whoever means surprise, I'd say. I mean, if you asked anyone who's going to be the leading sacker for the Colts after 2 weeks, Al-Quadim Muhammad was a little bit low on that list.
But I agree 100%. I kind of waited for one of you guys to mention it. But, I mean, like I said, when he blew up on my screen, I did not expect him. And that just lit the whole arena up. It lit the crowd up. It lit the defense up. Like, him blowing through that screen to go get a Stafford, I was just like, whoa. I mean, but he's getting used 70% of the reps. Like, I think he's just like bound to be the sack leader. He's getting used more than anyone else. I feel like if we would have threw Banagoo in there or somebody like that, I feel like they would have had probably just the same amount as pressure as Al-Quadim Muhammad. I mean, this is no knock on him. I mean, he's doing a pretty good job, but I mean, we could still use somebody else. But it is what it is. It's what it is at the end of the day. The force Buck to be himself as well. I loved your point on that, Lucas. We do miss Anthony Walker Jr., but I'm going to be honest with you. For him coming back, I still don't know if he will be enough to try to figure this defense out, because he can only do so much. We're going to go ahead and switch it up to Brian. You go ahead and let us know your thoughts on the Colts defense. Oh, Brandon, sorry. Let us know your thoughts on the defense today.
I don't know what it is that Jim Irsay has with their defensive coordinators whenever they come in, but if he has like a go-to, yeah, you're hired, but you have to play prevent and zone defense 80% of your calls. That has been our Achilles heel for since early 2000s. They have constantly and consistently played prevent and zone defense, and we have gotten burned so much by playing so deep with our safeties and zones that they just easily just pick across with corner routes or whatnot. And Carly Willis, he is getting beat so badly the past 2 games. Like, he's not even close to the corner route on several of these touchdowns. And I feel that an easy way to have stopped Kupp was to, unfortunately, have put Carey consistently on Kupp throughout the whole entire game, almost calling a remember the Titans and what's that? What was his name? Sunshine? Or no, not Sunshine. Oh shoot. Anyways, where he basically calls him out and says, "You better stay on this man. You better stay on this guy, and you never ever let him out of your sight." That's what Kerry should have done. And then you put one of the linebackers on a spy and watch out for Stafford whenever he can't look the cup, and the rest of the wide receivers are covered. You just go in there and you just blitz out. Like, that's just me, but I'm rather frustrated with the defense. Carly Willis, I feel that even though he's in his third season, he's having that sophomore slump because of the high season that he had last season. He's definitely on a downward spiral with this. He's getting beat with the play calling by Ephraim, and Big E, he's got to change this. He's got to change the play calling, and I put majority of the blame on our defensive coordinator.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to say on that before we go ahead and move on?
There was a brief stretch where this Colts defense was absolutely shutting down the Rams. I mean, we're getting all on them, but in the second half, specifically in the third quarter, they had 3 drives where they held the Rams to -8 yards combined. And then the very next drive, they give up 2 big plays to Cooper Kupp for the touchdown. So consistency is the name of the game. They have these flashes of dominance, but it just hasn't been able to put it together for even a full quarter, let alone a full game at this point.
Yeah, that's true.
And the thing is, we have star athletes. Let them play. Don't let them be hindered by the play calling. Allow these boys to play man. Allow these boys to get right up in the faces of these wide receivers and tight ends and really put it to them, because they have the muscle and they have the skill and they have the speed. So
not only that, I would just say, what happened to the Kenny Mo blitz? Like, that, use that. I mean, it's like kind of the one and only time you want to blitz, but I mean, he gets almost every time you call that, he typically gets there. And it's Stafford. If you're going to call that on Russell Wilson, who can move, call on a guy who's not known for his scrambling, especially when, again, we're missing that number 1 corner. When you play that cover 2 crap, that only works when you get pressure on the quarterback. Make him panic.
Yeah, you got a point there, man. Definitely.
Absolutely. And hell, that Darius Leonard amazing tackle for a loss that I mentioned earlier, that was an outside blitz around the edge. That was one of the few times that he's been used in that way. I mean, he has not been a very blitz-heavy linebacker, and he is one of the best and most efficient blitz linebackers in the NFL. Let's use Leonard the way Leonard is supposed to be used, and let's use our guys to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, I agree. Well, you guys pretty much hit it on the nose with that topic, pointing back to Brandon's point about switching it up. But you guys all definitely have very good points and compelling stories about this game. You guys in the comment section, feel free to let us know your thoughts on this game and how it went. Of course, it was unfortunate that we couldn't get the W. I think if we would have took some points earlier, or maybe changed the game plan when we got down to the end zone, we would have scored. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Everything happens for a reason. Hopefully these losses will definitely build the chemistry and make us fight even harder next week, because it's going to be a tough one, but we'll talk about that later as well. But we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Brandon, we're going to let you guys promote your channels or whatever you do. Brandon, you can go first. Where can they find you?
Just find me on Twitter. I actually don't even know what my Twitter handle is. I'm not that active with social media. I just get on there to kind of keep up to date with the Colts talk, and you can find me on Colts Nation #. I'll be there. You'll find me.
All right. You can find him at LAX_football guy for Twitter. Appreciate you guys for tuning in for that. Lucas, let us know where they can find you.
You can find me at RobinsLucas on Twitter. You can also find me at thebluestable.com, where I'm the lead writer for our site. And just I'm about to drop out our review of the game, and there's some spice to it. I gotta say that.
All right. Rondo, you're up.
Yeah, definitely. On Twitter at Rondo_Uno. If you want to follow my podcast at SIA Colts Beat. And also for game days, download the app Rave On. You can catch myself. I run battle chats for the Indianapolis Colts. It's a great platform to just interact live action while you're watching a game.
All right. Appreciate you guys for spreading your platforms out there. Appreciate you guys for joining the show today as well. We'll be pretty much linking up again in the near future whenever we get a chance. Especially I'll be available if my work schedule lets me. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is Marcus, and until next time, you've been Culture Shock.